All right, well, we'll see what happens. Let's see if the damn stream comes. Is annoying. Sorry about that. This is part 2. I know. It's tough. I mean, this is the liberal media. It wasn't my fault, though. It just... Restream just didn't connect. I don't know why. There was a glitch in the matrix or something. Alright, where were we? You gotta finish this part of the show. I'm just trying to open Farrago. I had to restart the whole computer. If anybody's out there. Hopefully people will come back. We had a nice audience. We had a nice conversation going. Hi, Errol. Nice to see you. Sorry about that. It just crapped out. Restream. Not Ecamm this time. Restream crapped out. Everything. This is what I'm talking about. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Help the real liberal media keep going. Alright, I'll start the timer over here. I'm gonna have to put these shows together. Thank you, guys. Thank you for finding the show again. Thank you, Jim and Josie and Kathy and Mike and Errol. Thanks for coming back. Jeez, what a pain in the ass, man. How did it just kind of crapped out, right? The restream would not connect. I had to restart the entire computer and hope for the best. But sometimes when the stream craps out, it automatically kicks back in, but it didn't do it that time, and then it just shut down. The mofo shut the mofo down. All right, let's, where were we? We were talking about the Nazi Jew, Stephen Miller, who was saying that that the con man was left an abomination of an economy. See, this is all Republicans have. Repeat the lies, just like the big lie about the election. The election was stolen from traitor Trump. No, it wasn't. And that's what's another thing that's getting me fucking irritated, because this baboon keeps going on. Whenever, they interview this so-called president, he's like, oh, well, it's really 3 terms if you count the one that was stolen. And no one ever stops him. No one ever says, it wasn't stolen. Next question. It's because just keep repeating it. That's why this has become maggot canon in their effed up cult. One of the things, you gotta believe that traitor Trump that he actually won the election. That's why they can't say Joe Biden won. They have to say Joe Biden is the president or was the president. You fucking cowards. You see how disgusting these people are? What do you think the founders would say about them? That's why they're vile, because they have no spine. They have no... They're not... I mean, for all of the flags they wave, and all of the... America the Beautiful, the teary-eyed renditions they sing. They hate America. I'm thinking of Mark Zuckerberg, that video he released of him on some, I don't know, boogie board or whatever they call it, in the water. Jet ski, it's not a jet ski, it's, but where you hang on behind the boat. And he's waving a big giant flag, holding a big giant flag, because he's so patriotic, you see, that he allows Russian bots and Russian disinformation to run rampant on his social media platform that he stole from a couple of twins many years ago. That's how patriotic he is. He's so patriotic, he completely bowed to the convicted felon con man, the filthy liar, the one with, who says the election was stolen from him when it wasn't, the one that poisons the empty heads of the idiots dumb enough to vote for him. The one who sent a mob of violent dupes to hang his vice president, to defecate and urinate in the halls of the Capitol, to trash the place, to trash the citadel of democracy. And there's Zuckerberg. Oh, don't you see? He loves America. Look at that big fucking flag he's holding. It's so offensive. Just like the maggots and they're wearing their crosses. If Jesus came back, they would crucify him again. If only they believed in Jesus, right? If only they followed his expressed instructions. You don't have to make it up, maggots. Just do what he said. You know, think about the poor. Visit people in prison. Except, but these maggots what are they doing? They're doing videos in front of something that looks like a goddamn concentration camp. Oh, they get off on that shit. Visit people in prison? Yeah, they'll visit to make a video and put it on social media using people as props behind them, like Himmler did. It's like, if only they were the patriots and the good Christians they pretend to be, that they claim. They're always claiming they're so Christian. Except the only holy obligation in their Christianity, in maggot Christianity, is hating people, hating the vulnerable, the misunderstood. They would never do anything to heal a community. The only thing they have is hate, bashing people, kicking down on people. They don't want to learn. You know, the way they go after trans people, just like the Nazis did. The Nazis started with trans people too. So, because, it's misunderstood, and it's very triggering to maggots, conservatives in general, because it's the pee-pee. They have to think of somebody's pee-pee, and then they have to think, wow, if gender is a construct, what is this hierarchy I'm insisting on? Because that's the entire maggot conservative way, right? The beatings will continue until morale improves. Put everybody in their place, and then we will have utopia. See, you could be free. They love freedom. You're free in the constraints that they have set out for you. The tight constraints of maggotdom. And I mean dumb. So here's Stephen Miller again.
It was in a state of calamity and catastrophe.
No,
President
it wasn't.
Trump's policy of reshoring our supply chains, pushing for total expensing of capital.
Reshoring our supply chains? Reshoring capital. First of all, manufacturing was up under Joe Biden. What this baboon just did was blow up the economy in our faces like a goddamn exploding cigar. This idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's why he's tariffing people or tariffing places that don't even have people. This is what we're dealing with. I know, no more Stephen Miller, right?
Gains, eliminating regulation, eliminating intrusive green new scam environment.
The green new scam, everything we say, trickle down, put it back. Everybody's got no tax on this, no tax on tits, no tax on porn star payoffs.
Taxes on American workers, including ending taxes on tips, ending taxes on overtime, ending taxes on Social Security.
Taxes on overtime. Good luck getting overtime. He's cut overtime. You see, I fucking hate them. One of the first things that this baboon did was he undid Joe Biden's executive orders for federal workers, increasing the amount of the categories of people who could actually get overtime. But they rolled that back, you see, but no taxes on it. Don't worry, they got your back. Republicans. No taxes on the overtime you won't qualify for anymore. No taxes on tips. No taxes on anything. No taxes on the Social Security they're cutting and destroying. I mean, how stupid. I'm so sick of the people, of the stupidity here. But it really is. It's the propaganda. That's the problem. Joe Biden, all right, I'll get rid of him. Joe Biden gave that freak a great economy. He claims that they inherited a depression from Joe Biden, characterized by zero job growth. This is the shit he's going around saying. High inflation and in a state of economic calamity. That's what he said, which is, of course, demonstrably false. The U.S. economy was in no way near a depression, but which we should all be concerned that that's the word that the Nazi Jew is using. Because if he's talking about depression, Joe Biden gave us a depression, what do you think they are expecting? Not too long in the distant future, on the horizon. If he's already blaming Joe Biden for a depression that was not on the horizon when Democrats were in charge, because the economy does better under Democrats, as always. That's just an effing fact. So, yeah, the economy was experiencing steady growth when the convicted felon con man stained the White House with his filth under Obama. And, of course, when the first time the convicted felon, before he was a convicted felon, took office, he was already given another great economy from a Democratic president who had cleaned up the Republican mess left to him. Because this is the pattern. It was not high double digits inflation. And in fact, it was finally under control after this worldwide, not a recession, the worldwide pandemic and the inflation problem that hit every single country. But the United States was the country that was holding up the rest of the world's economy, but we had recovered, or we were recovering from the worldwide pandemic better than and more successfully than every other country. That's just a fact. Joe Biden gave the baboon a record economy, record low unemployment, record job growth. He created more jobs than the past 6 presidents combined. And so everything that they're talking about is false. And we remember, and I won't play it because you've endured enough already, but how J.D. Vance, their videos he made holding up 2 dozen eggs saying Kamala Harris's policies made these dozen eggs $4 a dozen when he's holding up 2 dozen. It was actually, that was the price for 2 dozen eggs, $4. Now up the block, the eggs up the block are over $10 a dozen. So, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Let me see. And it's just unbelievable, because now instead of talking the whole problem is the propaganda, that this country is divided by propaganda. And they've been telling the people stupid enough to watch Fox News, a channel that makes its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all, and who was hit with the largest judgment in American history against the media company for lying to its viewers. So you really got to be a special kind of self-loathing dupe to actively consume the swill from that channel. But over on Fox News, they've been telling them that paying higher prices, and instead of, the $4 a dozen eggs or 2 dozen eggs, that was such a fucking burden on the American people. Or $3 a gallon gas. I did that. Remember how they would have that? They put that picture of Biden. I did that everywhere. According to Fox News, when the Democrat was in office, it was, what a burden to pay, for whatever, like 50 cents more for something in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. But now, when you lose your job and you're going to have to pay, God knows, exorbitant prices, it's going to get worse. These next 2 weeks, you better stock up. And the other thing, others keep saying that, well, maybe he'll roll them back and all that. Who cares if he does? It won't matter. Because the entire world is moving on without us. You think they're going to put up with this shit? It's the chaos. They need stability. Everybody needs stability in their lives. This is too much. So he's already done so much damage that we're not going to recover from for any time soon. Our reputation is in the shitter. No one is going to want to deal with us. Why would they? Would you? No. Of course not. They're making plans. He has the rest of the world now negotiating together about their trade deals. How are we going to cut the United States out of our economic world from now on? That's what they're doing. China is giddy. Oh, these Republicans, how they went on about China Joe. But this effing Republican shit show, they are the greatest gift to all of America's enemies. China Joe. Well, China and other, I think South Korea, they're all getting together now. Even it's like when the baboon, started shitting on Ukraine. And when J.D. Vance, that pudgy fucking draft dodge, whatever, he never wore the uniform of any country, his country, of course. And all he did was suck on Peter Thiel's Nazi Nazi worldview. In fact, I was writing an article. I told you guys the other day on the Tara Show. I am still writing it. I didn't post it yet because of all the catastrophes that went on today. I wasn't finished, but I'm writing an article about the Nazi roots of Peter Thiel and Musk, sort of like a cliff note, so you can refer to it, just to sum it all up, so people don't forget that the Vice President of the United States, he says his most life-changing moment in his time at Yale was when he heard Peter Thiel speak. And Peter Thiel is an oligarch from South Africa who was raised by Nazis, just like Elon Musk, who went to a school that they gave the Nazi salute as a greeting into the 1970s. And hold on a second, and is a Nazi. And so Peter Thiel is a acolyte of, what's the guy's name? Clive Yarvin. And Clive Yarvin is he's sort of like this. He's like a new age, not new age. He looks kind of like, he looks kind of like not a hippie. Like, what's that? Oh, Bob Dylan. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but he is a Nazi, basically, who hates democracy. He doesn't believe in democracy. And this is somebody that Peter Thiel funds, just like he funded J.D. Vance's venture capital and his entire career post and pre and post politics. So, like you, I give money to people, like to politicians that I feel share my ideology or share my views and want to implement, I think, my policy preferences. So why won't the corporate media ever point out that J.D. Vance was funded and is funded by someone who hates democracy, who openly hates democracy and is an acolyte of a Nazi who says that democracy is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, and that what they're trying to do is put this technocrat oligarchy in place that looks kind of like the intergenerational monarchy that ruled Western civilization for 2,000 years, but instead of that, it'll be Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. These technocrats, these tech bros will be in charge. That's what they're up to. And how else can you create that or implement this kind of ideology? The first thing you're going to need to do is take down the biggest democracy on earth. Once you nullify that, then there's no more making the world safe for democracy. There's no more standing with fledgling democracies. There's none of that. I mean, they have so fucked us over. But it's all for an evil. I mean, everything is evil here, but the end game is evil. We kind of blow past that to our peril. This is what they're up to. It's unbelievable how, when we knew this about J.D. Vance and Musk giving a quarter of $1 billion to Trader Trump in the election, we knew about him, both of them. They're South African apartheid roots and their Nazi, connections, and of course Peter Thiel openly disparaging democracy and hating it and hating Social Security and hating Medicare and basically hating America. These are not even natural born Americans, of course. So, but we're, instead of exposés every single day or polls, why don't you poll people about what do you think of a politician being funded by billionaires who openly disdain democracy? You think that's a good thing? Would you vote for a candidate like that? Maybe they could have done some polls on that instead of every effing day talking about how old Joe Biden is. And not talking about, the other thing they would talk about was how the economy is the envy of the Western world, but nobody knows it. How come it's not breaking through? Well, because you're not breaking it through. But, okay, half of the media is owned by Fox News types and others and right-wing influencers funded by the Kremlin spreading misinformation. And the other half is, I guess, too worried about being called biased. Oh, God. But as far as, let me see, here's what did the Republicans used to say about tariffs? Let's see. All the Republican saying about tariffs before and after Trump tariffs. Yeah, because now they're telling everybody, oh, it's your patriotic duty to open your wallets and pay more money for everything. Remember, before you weren't, you were a little fragile. They just needed to have everything as low bargain basement as possible. And if not, then, you were going to rise up and take a dump in the Capitol or something. Now it's your patriotic imperative to pay more when you don't have a job, when you have no social safety net, when everyone's lifelines are being cut. Just try. I get you got to feel bad. This is another reason why Social Security needs to be protected, of course, but also, protected and never, ever privatized. That's for sure. Because look at the people who have to, they put their paperwork in or whatever. They're trying to retire now. Good luck. Good luck with your 401k. Another failed Republican idea. All to get the American people into the market, because that's all that matters in this country. Greed is the only value. It's the only American value. Not e pluribus unum. Not we're in this together. No more pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other. Forget that. It's greed. So the Republicans deliberately did away with the pension, guaranteed pension. You would get a pension, and you worked in your company or whatever, and the majority of Americans had pensions. They would get a set amount of money until the day they died, and it would pass on to their spouse, and then until they died. But not anymore. The Republicans put an end to that. They had to. They needed your money, more money. They don't want a nanny state. That's nanny. That's nanny. You don't want freedom, the freedom of having a country that ensures you don't fall through the goddamn floor into Dante's Inferno. That's a nanny state. See? That's what and they turned the guaranteed pensions into the 401k. And now, how's that working out? You got to be fortunate, or you just got to, you're pressing your luck, really. Will I retire at a time when, the market's not in free fall? You better pray that you don't retire when there's a fucking baboon in the Oval Office who's sitting on a wrecking ball. Right? Well, here's what Fox News is telling there. Well, they're saying, you're going to have to pay. Let's see. Hold on. But, you got it. That's your patriotic imperative. Where is this son of a bitch? I have the wrong one. Yeah, I'll play it off the Twitter machine. God. Oh no. Jesse Waters. Yeah, let's play this, since that's the one that came up first. That's me. Come on. Ecam. Thank you for hanging out, everybody. Listening on Progressive Voices. We're almost out of time there. Here we go.
In pain. It's been walking around.
Oh, shut up, Jesse Waters.
The patient will be out in a minute, and you'll be able to say hi.
Oh, shut your hole.
It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have
gotta have it.
Child care is child care coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country is going to boom.
No taxes on tips.
And the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
Trump says the prognosis is...
Any way they can make a deal? Not with you, honey. Well, I apologize for all the technical problems, but that's the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. Thank you for hanging out, Progressive Voices. Come on over to youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster. Watch the end of the show. Check out the Political Voices Network, The Tara Show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the great Tara Dublin and myself, Tara Devlin. We will win. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. Subscribe to my Substack. All that. There's a lot to do. There's a lot I ask of you. But we will win. I'll see you soon. Is that too loud? I gotta do something about that. All right. It's gonna come roaring back. There'll be no tax on tips. There'll be no tax on tits. There'll be no tax on porn star payoffs. There'll be no tax on Teslas. No tax on... Shut the... Just like that Joe Biden... What a horrible depression he handed us. Where is this fucking Janine? Here we go. Here's some more. Some more bullshit on Fox News.
You heard the White House there saying, you know, this is not part of a negotiation. This is here to stay. I firmly believe that is posturing. This is the great deal maker, the great negotiator, and he's someone who understands how to get to a good end result. And with that in mind, you set the posture that this isn't going away. These are here to stay. You've had 70 years to negotiate. That's what I think this is. These tariffs are bigger than Smoot-Hawley from the 1930s. These are...
Smoot-Hawley. You realize that the Smoot-Hawley, according to... I don't know if you probably saw Ferris Bueller, but that's what he was talking about in Ferris Bueller, that it was the Smoot-Hawley tariffs that exacerbated the Great Depression. And she's talking about them like she knows what the F she's talking about.
Enormous. They're historic. They're going to reset the American economy. We'll see what happens, but I would not be surprised if the great negotiator has an end game in mind.
The great negotiator. You see? It's going to be such a great negotiation. If it's such a great negotiation, you wouldn't do it like this. You know? You would know what you're doing. You don't just turn on a light switch. You don't just pull out the rug and then say it's going to be great. Well, I mean, everything that they're doing is setting us up for failure and pain. How many people are going to commit, unalive themselves in this period? How many of our fellow Americans, losing their jobs, having no lifelines? They're cutting food benefits, food banks. Unbelievable. Oh, Charlie Kirk. Oh, I can't handle. I was trying to look for this Jeanine Pirro. How do you spell her name? Jean Ann Pirro? Because she was annoying the F out of me. Here it is. This is the one I thought I had.
And he's delivering. And you know what?
He's delivering.
I don't really care about my 401k today. You know what? Not that I can afford it. Not that it isn't important.
$3 million a year.
Not that I'm not at a point in my life when I should be worried about my 401k,
Honey,
because I am. But this is what I believe. I believe in this man. And I believe that what we're seeing now with his bringing in $1 trillion in business and manufacturing and companies moving back to the United States.
No.
And he's delivering. And
nobody's moving back to the United States except for what Joe Biden moved back to the United States. So he can take credit for it. We knew that was going to happen because factories were opening in America. You think that people are going to put up with this shit? They already laid off a bunch of auto workers. You think that's not going to stop when prices go through the roof and people don't go out and buy things because they can't afford it? How does that trickle down into the rest of the economy? Because when people who spend their money don't spend it because they can't. They don't have money. Their spouses might have worked for Social Security and got fired, or all the other government agencies. Government jobs used to be good jobs. You want to work in the government because you have a steady job with steady, decent income and retirement benefits, health insurance, sick leave. And that should be expected. That's nothing to disparage. But Republicans, you see, they don't like when the American people are economically secure and economically vibrant and upwardly mobile. They hate that. They don't like an educated populace, an uppity populace that where, you know, they can go get another job. They don't like it. They want you nice and desperate and fighting amongst each other, fighting over your a bathroom bill, fighting over somebody's pee-pee, about shit you know nothing about and it should mind your own damn business about. But, I mean, geez. Let's see, where is it? Ugh. Fucking thing. Where is Harris? Let me play that while I'm looking this up. That's why I need a real producer up in this bitch. Let's see. Here we go.
Sense of fear that has been taking hold in our country. And I understand it. But we're saying people stay quiet. We are seeing organizations stay quiet.
Yep.
We are seeing those who are capitulating.
Yeah.
To clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, you know, there were many things that we knew would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
You should. You should say it.
I swore I wasn't gonna say that.
No, you should, and keep saying it. That's what they should do. Never stop saying it, because we had a choice. America had a choice. And it's so many crossroads and forks in the road that we have found ourselves on. You know, this country, we always make the wrong choice. Not always, but it just seems that way. There's so many missed opportunities. We could be in a much better place right now, of course. And what I think about, you know, with these baboons, what's going to happen is this, that, you know, as Fox News goes on about how we should all get ready to pay $2,800 for an iPhone, ha ha ha, and then they laugh, saying you better have Apple Care, ha ha ha, make sure you don't break your iPhone. What do they care? I mean, for Janine Pirro to say she should care about her 401k, but she doesn't. I don't care. She makes $3 million a year. She's fine. She's effing fine. But, you know, the rest of us are on our own out here, especially with, I mean, I'm not kidding, because they're destroying every lifeline. So, but what a difference. You know, what the Republicans used to say. They would say, talk about protectionism. Oh, we don't want to be protectionist. Oh, well, there only four senators voted against Trump at this time and his tariffs. But the fact is that, you know, like I was saying, if he knew what he was doing, they would go in. You want to be a great deal maker? You say, I mean, just the way that he went about this proves he's not a deal maker, and he's in no way a great anything. A deal maker doesn't go in and just put sweeping tariffs on everything without a deal. He's putting tariffs not just on places that don't have humans. He's putting tariffs on places that we don't even trade with. So okay, I mean, where's this roaring economy roaring back? What he's got is bullshit social media posts saying that only the strong will survive. It's fucked up. This is like Hunger Games. I'm trying to go. Let me see. Where is it? Reddit. I'm sorry. People are texting me, fucking emailing me, and it's very distracting. Like at 10:30, can I get a minute? I'm on the goddamn show here. Not the goddamn show, but I'm on my show. Just, everybody leave me alone for 5 minutes. Reddit, that's where I wanted to go. Onto the conservative Reddit page. Let's see what they say. So they're upset at Harris, of course. Let's see if anybody is upset about it. That's what I'm trying to figure out. The trade war, quote unquote, has been going on for a while. The U.S. is just finally getting around to responding to it. Well, if this is how you respond to something, like a fucking idiot flinging poo, and one thing I was thinking about today when I saw Harris and her speech, I thought about all of the crossroads we've come to and how many times we've made the wrong decision and how heartbreaking it is for this country. But you know what? This is a reckoning. And that's the other thing that came to my mind, that we are gonna have to really, I guess, feel the pain of our own racism and misogyny. The inability to face ourselves, to have that truth and reconciliation that is desperately needed in a multiracial liberal democracy. That's what we need. That's why the Republicans want to destroy any DEI or any chance of us ever, having reckoning with our racist history. You can't even talk about the racist history. The fact that it was a racist history, that we wrote laws against particular and specific minority groups to keep them in their place, to stop them from voting, to stop them from participating in civic life, under pain of death, under domestic terrorism. We deliberately, the policies of education, of schools being funded through property taxes, that's a racist policy that goes back. That goes back to the deliberate racist, politicians who proposed and passed these policies. Too many P's in that sentence. But if we had a functioning society that left no one behind, you know what would happen? We would fund education, not through property taxes, but through the general fund. That's how it goes. And then you would have schools that are on equal measure, no matter where somebody lives. But funding schools by property taxes ensures that poor neighborhoods have poor schools. And that's just how the conservatives like it and wanted it. And that's a racist policy right there. So we had a racist history in this country that we tried to reconcile with in some way with affirmative action. That was one, because it was understood, or at least it was not the whole shebang, but people thought that if we only got to know each other, if we could only live together and work together and ride the same buses together and go to the same schools and the same universities, that racism will be over. But we did that and found out that, well, it's a little bit more complicated, because what we really need to reckon with are the policies, not just getting to know each other or being in the same schools or even army unit. So, and to the conservatives who are dragging us back into the dark ages, they think our attempt to do something about racism, to reconcile our racist history, and why would we want to reconcile with our racist past in this country? Because we want to have a successful civilization, a successful democracy. That's why we would do it. And that's why Republicans don't want it done. So what we are dealing with now is a result of the American people's inability or unwillingness to choose a competent and experienced woman of color over a fucking white serial bankrupt, tax cheating, draft dodging, rapist, goddamn baboon. They want the baboon more than the competent person. And shame on the American people for doing that. Shame on everyone who voted for that. You know, look at yourself. You know, really, you better look at yourself and figure it out. Why? Why would you ignore all evidence to the contrary? How this dumbass, how he is so unfit. He's unfit to judge a goddamn wet t-shirt contest at the Jersey Shore. You know he is, because he'd rig it. He'd sexually abuse the contestants. He'd expect certain favors. I know, I should stop insulting the baboons. I'm sorry. It's true. Baboons, but Mike Malloy calls him the sewer rat, but I would, that's an insult to rats. And, you know, I don't have anything against baboons, but as I think I've mentioned it before, that they've done studies on rats, that if the rat has a choice to either get a treat or save a fellow rat from drowning, the rat will save the fellow rat every single time. So to call Trump a rat is to honor him. It's to give him a promotion, because he wouldn't give a shit about anybody. To get a treat or save another human being in trouble, that's not the you know, that's not the con man. That's not the Republican Party, that's for sure. I mean, you would think that if they loved America, and let's say, just for a second, that firing hundreds and thousands of Americans somehow was good for eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. You think, though, if they really cared about their fellow Americans and the country, that they would provide some kind of services to help them, you know, in case they fell through the cracks, right? You wouldn't just fire them and treat them like shit, as the Republicans do. I'm sure you saw that. Who was that? The Republican says, you deserved it, right? To somebody who was fired. Let's see. What a piece of dirt these people are. Yeah. GOP senator tells a fired federal worker, you probably deserve
Republican Senator Jim Banks is going viral for an exchange caught on camera with a former Health and Human Services employee.
I was fired illegally.
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude, that's
wow.
sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
The former federal worker
like
reportedly...
a clown. No one is more clownish than your standard bearer, Republicans.
Yeah.
You seem like a clown. See, they don't care about the American people. Not in any way, shape, or form. That's why they have this unelected South African sociopath. They cheer that. They cheer him dancing around with a chainsaw, dancing on the sufferings that he's caused the American people. And it really pisses me off. Because how dare they? How dare he? How dare this not even natural-born citizen attack our fellow Americans? It pisses me off. And look at the glibness. Look at the face, the smugness on this person's face. Who is that? What's his name? Oh, it's Jim Banks. You probably deserved it. No, no one deserved it. And no one deserves to lose their job more than you, Jim Banks. But trust me, where is Jim Banks? Where does he come from? He is, let's see, he's Indiana. Yeah, I get you. I bet you a bunch of Republicans, they'll send him right back, even though he'll disparage them, kick down on them, cut their lifelines. Right? As long as he hates trans people, they'll send him right back. He'll slit their throats, and they'll vote for him again. He won't back down. See, this is the new Republican way. Being a Republican means never saying sorry. Right? It's never taking responsibility. It's never owning your bullshit. It's never ever learning a lesson. It's never saying, "Oh, I said something wrong. I apologize. That was unduly cruel. I shouldn't have said that. That's a fellow American. I should have listened to his concerns instead of being such a asshole saying, "Oh, you probably deserved it." How dare you? How effing dare you? Jim Banks says he won't back down after telling fired HHS employee he probably deserved it. Yes, he won't apologize because Republicans, if you apologize, then that means you're weak. See, even though they don't realize that not being able to apologize is the weakest, is the weakest trait. Never learning, never evolving, never taking responsibility. That means you are the weakest little fragile, cowardly, unfit, basic bitches ever to inflict themselves, their manias on a struggling democracy. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Democrat anti-Trump banks groups. Democrat. He won't. You probably deserved it. Let's see. Here we go. He posted to his own account.
The Democrats and the left-wing media have lost their minds because I told a left-wing activist in the halls of the Senate
he must have been a paid
buildings
protester.
What I really thought. A clown is a clown who's chasing senators through the halls with
That's
a cell
called
phone.
lobbying. That's called petitioning your government for redress. You see, if it was a billionaire, he would have bent over, and said, please, without whatever you got to do, just do it. And can I have another? He would have fallen to his knees in front of Elon Musk. Right? But it's a clown when someone who's been unduly fired in this massacre by this unelected South African sociopath goes to Congress to petition their representatives and their senators for redress. It's right in the Constitution, but that's a clown, not the serial bankrupt con man. That's not a clown. Not the freak, the sociopath who sucks on government contracts without the manners or the decency to say thanks. Not that one dancing around with a chainsaw. That's not a clown. Not the clown, the sociopath who had to hire ringers to play a video game for him so he can go around and say, I'm in the top 10 of Path of Exile 2. That's not a clown. This is a 50-year-old asshole. I'm in the top 10 of Path of Exile 2. And that's not a clown. That's somebody you put in charge of firing our fellow Americans. And then he makes a video about it. This is the Republican Party.
Complaining about losing a left-wing woke job in the federal government that should have never been a job to begin with.
Are you fucking kidding me? You don't even know what job he had, you piece of shit. A left-wing woke job. They're all left-wing wokers, aren't they? We got to get rid of those woke jobs, like working for the Social Security Administration. That's pretty woke, isn't it? Caring about yourself or others, caring about your fellow Americans, making sure that they don't have to sleep on the Bowery like they did, like 30,000 used to do before Social Security, or that don't have to needlessly die of hypothermia in the winter and malnutrition all year long like they did before Social Security. That's a woke job, Social Security. What a woke thing to do. Medicare. Oh, these fuckers.
I won't back down. I won't apologize
You're
for it.
so
I support
strong.
President Trump and the Doge
Fuck
effort.
you, Doge effort. I want to hear, of course, this is excrement. Wow. Yeah, it's a woke job, everybody. No taxes on tips. Oh, here's a bot. You're a boss. Look at this shit.
You probably deserved it.
I deserve it.
Because you seem like a clown.
Oh, God, I got to get out of this country. Don't back down. We need you to be strong. Everyone knows these are bots. Keep your eye on the ball. America first. These are the comments from the maggots, but who are probably bots. They're all bots. Because that's what this, unelected South African sociopath's social media platform is. It's a Nazi safe space. He's a clown, says Tammy, this Tammy account. My God. They're all full of shit. These are all bots because, like Tammy Tavers, late boomer, here for the party. That's all she does all day is post about, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Sleepy Joe. And what's this? Until this happens, nothing will change. Oh, I guess those are just nameless government workers in handcuffs. Leaving the Democrat Party, Mayor Adams. Good. But there is no Democrat Party, so I don't know what they're talking about. God, let's go just to cleanse our palates a little. Before the show ends, let's go on to the leopards eating our face Reddit page. Oh, here's this asshole. Barstool founder loses $7 million.
I almost tweeted out, Dave, how much are you down right now and today? $7 million.
I'll cry tomorrow.
I'm down $7 million in stocks and crypto. And it's tariff city. Trump has put his tariffs all over the place. I've been trying to understand him. I don't.
Well, he's a genius.
Like, it's more a trade deficit.
He's like playing 5D chess. We're mere mortals. We can't understand what he's doing. Right? I mean, I trust him. Like Janine Pirro. He's this amazing businessman that's never put a foot wrong. Or I think, right? Is that true? Or did I hear that on Fox News? Let's see. Here's some Trump voters. It's no secret I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for a global trade war. He better fix this strife immediately if Republicans want a chance to keep the House. 71 million Americans have a 401k, and that's, well, I mean, because Republicans suck. Republican policies always come home to roost and failure. We are the world's largest consumers. Our trade deficits could be ironed out with a phone call. I believe this is a huge miscalculation. Democrats should be jumping up and down, celebrating. Yeah, we're not, because we have to live in the consequences of Republican ineptitude, just like you do, dumb bitch. Oh, and yes, this is good. I was hoping for liberal tears, but ouch, quit it. I'm one of the good ones. And that's what they all say when they lose their jobs. They're like, I'm not waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's another one. Now I regret my vote for Trump. Prices are rising. 401ks tanking. We're headed into recession. Musk is laying off hardworking Americans. Doge laying off veterans. Soft on Russia. Lost our allies. Incompetent idiots running defense. Kids are dying of measles for the first time in a century. And billionaires are paying for vote. Now I regret my vote for Trump. Well, now a warning, huh? I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for this insanity. I voted for him because I wanted Project 2025. Well, you got it, honey. Right-wing judges and a national abortion ban, which, of course, would only kill women. I didn't vote for him to crash our economy. Yes, you did. You selfish dumbass. Oh, there you go. Look at all that. Look at all that red. Now that's what you call falling off a cliff. Jim Cramer feels like a sucker for believing in Trump. Well, what did I always say? Suckers are born every minute. Trumpanzees are living proof. I did that. To the many investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, this is Trump on his tripe, my policies will never change. This is a great time to be rich, to get rich, richer than ever before. That was today. And there he is. What does he do? He goes golfing again. You know, that's the waste, fraud, and abuse. How much has he spent on golfing? Just like the last time. Remember how the Republicans were all whining that Obama went golfing on a public golf course? He went on the public golf course, and he didn't have to be flown there. And they all went out, after Obama for going golfing. And meanwhile, Trump, in the first term, spent more money in the first 90 days of his fake presidency than Obama had his entire presidency. And, nothing, not a peep. Same time, same thing now. He's spending over 25 million so far. I'm probably lowballing it. It's probably more, because that was just last I looked. It was up to 24 million. Oh God, mother effer. I hate them all. And just like what Harris was saying, look, here's Tim Cook. Apple CEO Tim Cook, this was before, donating $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration fund today Apple lost $250 billion in market value. There you go. Well, and that's exactly what Harris was talking about these shameless, shameful titans of industry bending the knee to this con man who doesn't deserve it, who doesn't deserve any. I mean, he doesn't deserve to be in where he is, of course. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's a very sick man. And that's why he's inflicting his sickness on Earth. He's a sociopath. All right, guys, listen. We will win. We will. One day. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a rough ride. But we're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Check out the Tara Show Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Political Voices Network with myself and Tara Dublin. We will win. Oh, shit. I hit the wrong button. Why am I hitting the wrong button every time? All right, what else? Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Thank you, Jim, for being a moderator. Thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you for finding the stream. See you soon. Thank you, everybody. And next time, we'll see Christina if she wants to be a moderator. Yeah, why not? Let's see. Right? We gotta, I guess we'll have to take her word for it. We'll see. You can make the decision, Jim. You can always kick her, I suppose, but then she can kick everybody. I don't know, whatever. I gotta go because I gotta go see what's going on with this cat. Let me see. They texted me. You'll need to unlock. Oh, shut up! I didn't ask you anything, Siri. Let's see. Okay. Oh my God, go away. Let's see. All right, they're still looking for the cat. I'm going to go out with my flashlight and look under the cars. But all right, guys, listen, guys. Thank you for hanging out tonight. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you, Jim, again, for everything, as always. And yeah, it's not going to be a long goodbye tonight because I got to get the hell outside. And I got a lot of work to do with putting the shows together now, but thank you, and hopefully I will see you on the Tara Show on Tuesdays. On this Tuesday at the Political Voices Network, and hopefully over the next couple of days I'll finish my article on the Political Voices Substack. And I gotta, you know what happens? I have to say, I start writing an article and then it just balloons into like a freaking paper. You know what I mean? I really gotta get it, just tighten it up. But this article, I wasn't able to complete it because of the crisis today. So hopefully over the weekend. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And I will see you on Tuesday at the Political Voices Network at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Tara Show. See you soon.